friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to another week's What's for Dinner. If you're new here, welcome. I'd love if you'd hit that subscribe button and join my YouTube family. I put out What's for Dinner videos every week, and this week I have 3 inspirational meals for you, and I hope that you enjoy them as much as we did. They're all really good. So, yeah, other than that, I'm a little bit sunburned. I don't know if you can tell, and I'm looking the camera, sorry. I'm a little sunburned, my hair's a little crazy. I literally just got back from the beach, and I'm even filming in a different area because we have company over, and I want to still make sure that my video comes out for you tomorrow, and I didn't record a little intro when I edited, so I just wanted to do that real quick. Okay, so other than that, let's get started. This first recipe is Cajun smoked sausage and orzo. I'm starting by taking this beef smoked sausage, and this is just one from Aldi. You can use any brand or even a pork or kielbasa sausage, and just go ahead and cut that into some coin shaped pieces. Now I've just taken my large skillet and I placed about a tablespoon of olive oil in there and let that heat up, and now I'm just going to go ahead and put in that smoked sausage in there and let that go ahead and begin to brown. And I like to stir it pretty occasionally just to make sure that all sides are browning and make sure that all the pieces are getting evenly cooked. Like sometimes you flip them around and one just happens to not get browned on each side, so I make sure that those pieces get flipped and nice and crispy because that's how I like them. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add in some frozen onions that I keep on hand, and I'd say about a small onion's worth, and I'm just going to go ahead and saute those with the kielbasa now that it's almost finished cooking. I didn't have any fresh bell pepper, but I had some frozen green bell pepper, so I did decide to add that in to add some extra flavor as well. I'm also going to be adding in this Creole seasoning. You can add in whatever type of Cajun or Creole seasoning you have. I'm adding about a tablespoon, but I would say that I did find this a little too spicy for my liking. So I would cut that down, or cut down that half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes that I was putting in. Cut down one or the other, maybe to half of the amount. And I also added some salt and black pepper there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and stir that to season all of that. And I forgot to hit record, but I went ahead and added some of that chicken bouillon to 14.5 ounces of water to substitute for a can of chicken broth. And then I went ahead and added in a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes, and I'm just breaking up some of those bigger pieces of the tomato so that they're a little bit more like crushed tomatoes, but not quite. Then I just went ahead and gave that all a good stir, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in 8 ounces of uncooked orzo pasta. And then I went ahead and gave that all a stir again to get that orzo all submerged in all of that liquid so it can cook like. And I brought that to a boil, and I'm placing the lid on, and I'm gonna lower the heat to a medium low and cook that anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes or until your pasta is done. And while it is cooking, I am grating up 1 zucchini. I'm just using my box grater for that, just to grate it all down. And once the dish is done cooking, you're gonna go ahead and add that in. Isn't this such a beautiful orzo dish? This is actually my first time cooking with orzo, and we loved this recipe. The only thing, like I said, is that I would like a little less heat, so I would either cut the Cajun seasoning or the red pepper flakes a bit for my taste. This next recipe is mango chili chicken. You're going to start off by cutting up 1 small mango. You're going to need about 3/4 to 1 cup of diced mango. I have a larger mango, so I'm only cutting part of my mango for this. And I just use a spoon to scoop out the meat of the fruit out of the peel, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut that up into some more like diced sized pieces. Next, you're going to need a 1/4 cup of red onion, and I'm just cutting it into some smaller pieces because I'm going to be placing this in a small little hand blender that I have to make it the puree later, and I want it to be a little bit easier to blend up. And I'm going to go ahead and take that blender cup and place those onions inside, as well as about 3 garlic cloves, and you could use less if you'd like. I just like a little bit more garlic, so I'm using about 3 cloves, and I'm also going to place all of those mango chunks inside of there. This little blender cup goes to my Cajun immersion blender, and it's amazing. So if you don't have something like this, you can also use just your regular blender. Next, I'm going to be adding in some honey, about a 1/4 cup's worth. I'm also going to be adding in about a 1/4 cups each worth of olive oil and apple cider vinegar. Next, I'm going to be adding in 1 tablespoon of lime juice, and I don't have fresh limes, but you can definitely use those, as well as 2 tablespoons of sriracha chili sauce. I'm also going to be adding in a 1/4 cup of fresh squeezed orange juice. I'm sure you can use bottled as well. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add in a 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and pepper. And I'm just going to go ahead and blend that up. You're going to want a nice smooth consistency like a dressing. In fact, this sauce was absolutely delicious. It tastes so fresh, and it made an amazing salad dressing because I was left with some left over, and it is super good. Next, I am taking 2 large chicken breasts that I went ahead and pounded nice and thin and evenly in this bag here, and I'm going to go ahead and pour that sauce over. Mind you, I did reserve some. I reserved about a 1/4 cup of that marinade, and I was thinking I would use it later to pour on the chicken, but I didn't need it for the amount of chicken that I was cooking. So I think you could actually get away with more chicken, maybe 1 or 2 even more chicken breasts with this same amount of marinade. I think this was about 1.5 pounds of chicken, so you could probably get away with up to 2.5 pounds. And you want to let that marinate for anywhere from 1 to 24 hours. So once my chicken marinated, I'm taking my large skillet and I'm placing some oil in there, and once it's hot, I'm just going to go ahead and place those chicken breasts in there, and I'm going to cook them about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. And after a couple of minutes of cook time, I went ahead and took the remaining marinade, not the amount that I set aside, but just the one that was in the bag with it cooking, and I placed it in that pan to cook down with the chicken as well. And as you can see there, I flipped my chicken and I cooked it at the additional 4 to 5 minutes. And I'm just checking it to make sure it's an internal temperature of 165 degrees. And once that was done, I let it rest for about 5 minutes. And then I just sliced it up into some nice strips. This meal was another favorite. This is my kind of meal. Like, I love chicken and rice bowls, things I can put extra vegetables or fruit with. And I served it with white rice and some broccoli, as well as some mango chunks and avocado. And wow, we just loved this. I also poured some of that reduced sauce on top of the chicken. This last recipe is a beef dip sandwich made out of a Mississippi pot roast. All I want to say is, wow, this is amazing, y'all. I have a recipe where I already show how to make the Mississippi pot roast, but I'll go ahead and link it in the description for you. So I'm just taking a 3-pound roast, and mine is frozen, and I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of ranch powder. And as you can see, my cat decided she wanted to make a little debut and say hi. So there she is for a moment. And I'm adding in also one of these packets of onion soup mix or dip mix. I'm using the Aldi brand. You can also use the Lipton brand, that's very well known. And just some pepperoncinis on top of that. I'm just doing enough to kind of space out. So anywhere between 8 to 10 is what you can add. And then you're just going to go ahead and add a stick of butter right on top and put the lid on, put it on low, let it cook for 8 hours, and you get this amazing, beautiful meat. And you're going to want to keep all of that juice for these sandwiches. And now I'm just taking my pan and I have it over like medium high heat, and I'm taking these bolillo rolls. You can find them in the Mexican stores and the bakery. You can also use just a French bread, but you do want to toast it up. It really does help. And then I'm just placing some cheese on those as well. You can use whatever cheese you like. I believe this was just like a Jack or a provolone. And then I'm placing that meat on top. You want to place it on the cheese to let it melt. It will help it melt. And I don't know if I mentioned, but you do want to toast both sides of those breads. That nice crusty outside really does help because the meat's going to soak up on the inside bread, and it's going to be almost like soft and gooey and amazing, but a perfect balance with that outside crunchy layer of bread. We had a large meal early in the day, so I'm not even serving a side with this, but you can of course make some fries or something like that. But wow, let me tell you, these sandwiches are amazing. My boyfriend wanted to eat these for days in a row. That's how good they are, and I really hope that you enjoy them. And thanks so much for watching, friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future What's for Dinner videos. I hope you all have an amazing week.